Exodia FTK first turn kill. Summon Exodia without even giving your opponent a chance to play the game, and we can do it with actually surprising consistency with this deck. It's not the best deck, you're not going to win the majority of your games, but you're going to win a surprisingly high number of your games with this deck. Admittedly, it is a bit of an expensive deck. I do have a more budget version of Exodia that I'll be bringing here in the next few weeks to show you guys. And this deck does require 4 ultra rares from 4 different boxes and 3 copies of each, so it is a bit pricey. But other than that, this is a really fun deck. It allows you to draw throughout your entire deck in one turn using all of the Dark World draw cards, along with a few other draw cards that we have in the game. Of course, Grandpa's cards is our skill that we're using with this deck to add all 5 pieces of Exodia into our starting deck before the game begins, meaning that we have a 25 card deck that we need to dig through. Now, there are going to be some difficulties with this deck at times, depending on how you draw. If you open up with things like your Spellbook of Knowledge before you get to your other Spellbook cards, a lot of times you just lose. If you don't win at least one of your Cup of Aces, a lot of games, again, you just lose. So there are some like luck-reliant things with this, where you have to draw your cards in the right order, and you can't miss on both of your Cup of Aces. But there are other ways, though, that, you know, you can basically just like filter through your entire deck and get to your Exodia pieces and win the game. So it's also a problem if you draw your Exodia pieces too early, but the base thing you want to do, though, is you have 6 Dark World spell cards and 6 Dark World monster cards that need to be used together. Every single one of these Dark World spells needs to discard one of the Dark World monsters, and then on top of that, you have your 3 Into the Void, and then you have your Spellbook combo, which is going to give you a +1, which is hugely important. And hopefully by the end of that, and hitting at least one of your Cup of Aces, you'll get to your Exodia pieces. Going first, your opponent won't have a chance to play, and going second, it's a little easy to disrupt this deck. If they have something like Warning Point or some other way to stop the effect of Spellbook of Magician, it can totally ruin your day. But outside of that, though, you can actually win a decent number of games going second, depending on what deck your opponent is playing with, if they have any back row to interrupt your play. Again, stopping Magician of Prophecy is like the main way that that's going to happen. But yeah, it's a really simple deck. You do want to, again, try to get to your Dark World, particular Snow, early, and hopefully use your Snow to search out whatever you need. So like if you have Browse in hand, you don't have a way to discard, you search for your discard option. If you have the Dealings and the Gates in hand, then you search for the other copies of Snow, and then eventually the Browse, so that you can get to everything. Going first, you do need to +1. Obviously, you start out with 4 cards in your hand, and all of your Dark World cards, your Into the Void, they don't give you any pluses, right? They're just 1-for-1s. Dark World Dealings, discard a Dark Lord, you get 2 cards out of it. You don't gain anything on card advantage, so you have to get the +1 off of the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. If for some reason you can't, like you draw the Knowledge, you can't get the additional +1 off of it, then you got to get your +1s off of your Cup of Aces. And if you miss on both your Cup of Aces, even if you do get the Prophecy, like you really can't win turn 1 going first. It's like impossible. So going second, you have a little bit more leeway because you have that extra card in hand. You start out with 5 cards in hand, but again, your opponent then has a chance to possibly disrupt your combos by having a way to stop the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy play. And if that happens, you're in really bad shape. You have to win again. You have to win your Cup of Ace coin flips at that point. If you're playing with this deck at a very high level, I should have stated beforehand with this deck, if you're playing with this deck at a very high level at like Legend or King of Games rank, it's going to be tough to win. But if you are playing with this game with this deck at lower ranks, you can probably get by, stalling out a little bit, surviving a couple turns here and there, playing against opponents who may not be able to kill you as quickly. But playing at the highest levels, at King of Games level, at Legend rank, you're going to be playing against very good opponents who are going to wipe your life points out real quick. So you have to win on that first turn that you play, your first turn 1 or 2. So that's pretty much it with this. We'll go ahead and dig into the gameplays real fast. There's not a whole lot to go over with this deck. You just want to draw your entire deck. The gameplays will be real quick with it because there's not a whole lot of back and forth with this deck. There's not a lot of interactivity at all. So this is sort of the ideal going first scenario, right? You are... You go first, your opponent doesn't have a chance to stop you at all, and if you dig into everything in the proper order, no Exodia pieces in the opening hand, you're in pretty good shape. So we'll go ahead and do Into the Void first, just get the draw 1, see where we're at. We have 3 discard options and only 1 Dark World in hand, so we need to change that. We get lucky, we draw the Snow now, so let's go ahead and just make sure that we do this in the right order. Use our Dark World spells to get rid of our Dark World monsters. Use up the Snows first to make sure that we get everything else that we're missing from our hand. We also want to do the Spellbook of Secrets now so that we don't risk drawing into our other Spellbook cards. So let's go ahead and activate the Secrets, get the Spellbook Blue Boy, summon it, get our Spellbook Knowledge, get the +2 off, or the +1 off of this, draw 2, And now we're in great shape. Gates of the Dark World, gonna banish, and we have both of our snows at this point, so we can just search for whatever Dark Worlds we need. Hopefully we don't draw into any of them too quickly. We can just search them out instead with snow. We don't, so we can just search out whatever we need. Now we have all of our draws with the Dark World. Go ahead and get them. Just Dark World for Dark World, into the Voids to +1. Cup of Ace, you do want to hit at least one of these. If we can hit one, we're in great shape. We hit the one Cup of Ace. We probably don't even need to hit the second one here. There's only 3 cards left in deck. Into the Void for 1. Activate Gates of the Dark World. Discard. It doesn't even matter about the second Cup of Ace. Draw the other 2. Summon Exodia. Obliterate our opponent. Easy win here. But yeah, that's just sort of the base of what you want to do. You're again, 6 Dark World discard options, 6 Dark World monsters, each has to go with them. You don't want to draw your monster, you just have to draw everything in the right order. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Alright, this one's a little bit tougher. We're going second, so our opponent could have a way to interrupt our combo. And even if they don't, we have 1 Exodia piece already on our opening hand, which is not a good thing. You want these to stay in the deck for the meantime and draw them late. And we have 3 Dark World discard options in hand, which isn't bad. We just don't have any monsters to discard with them right now. So we really need to draw into a Dark World monster right now and hopefully be able to get to the rest of them without our opponent having much of a way to disrupt our combos at all. So our opponent's going off, summoning a Decode Talker. Part of his Orcus combos, he's going to be able to go into Dingirsu as well, but does he have any back row to protect? He has the Orchestrated Babble, but without any back row, his life points don't matter to me. You can boost those life points up as high as you like, they do not matter. We do fortunately draw the Dark World monster, so we're able to go ahead and get the effect off. We also get lucky and draw the Magician of Prophecy, and he has no way to interrupt, so summon it, search for secrets, secrets can search for knowledge, and knowledge can send away the prophecy, letting you draw 2 cards and giving you the +1. We now activate the Gates of the Dark World, go ahead and banish, discard the snow, it's going to let snow search for snow. Again, we just need to keep making sure that we get all of our Dark Worlds out of hand. So we're going to use snow. We would search for another snow here, but we drew our last one, so instead we'll search for Brow. And we'll go ahead and Dark World Dealings, go ahead and discard the snow. Snow's effect, going to go ahead and search for Gates of the Dark World, get the last Dark World discard spell with the last Dark World monster here. Go ahead and banish, discard, draw, get the additional draw from the Brow. Cup of Ace, we just need to hit 1. And even if we don't, there's even a chance we could still win off of hitting this one, but we definitely would like to hit it. We do, so into the Void, draw 1. Again, doesn't matter if we Cup of Ace here, we could just as easily Gates of the Dark World, Brow Huntsman, and draw the last 2 cards and win. But Cup of Ace, we'll go ahead and hit it, and it connects. So once again, summon Exodia. This deck is, like I said, this deck is actually pretty good. There are going to be those brick hands where you open up with like Spellbook of Knowledge and like 2 Exodia pieces and something else and you just lose. So that will happen a lot, but you do win a good number of games still. Okay, so once again, our opponent's going first, and we don't really care about too many of the traditional things that would stop monsters. We mostly just care about monster effect negation. If he can stop that Spellbook Magician of Prophecy effect, if he can't stop that, usually we're pretty good to go as long as we draw into everything. So we'll go ahead and summon this here. We did unfortunately open up with the 2 spellbooks in our hand, so we do still get the +1 off of the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, but we have a dead Spellbook of Secrets in our hand now, which we could potentially discard with Dark World Dealings, but it's usually not a good idea to do that unless you're really desperate late game because or unless you're really desperate at some point based on how you've drawn through your cards. So either way, we're not in that position right now. We're able to discard our Dark Worlds, get more Dark Worlds. Gate of the Dark World's going to banish a snow, discard a snow, search our deck for Brow, continuing the train rolling here. Into the Void, draw us another card. Gates of the Dark World for Dark World. Keep getting lucky here, drawing into our Dark World cards. Snow lets us search for whatever we're missing. So we'll go ahead and do that one more time here. Banish, draw, Cup of Ace. We need to connect on one. We desperately need to connect on this. If we lose this one, we lose the game here. But fortunately, we win this Cup of Ace draw here. Let's just get to Dealings. Continuing through our deck, and with 3 cards still in our deck, we draw Exodia. Easy win here against the evil hero player. Awesome summon animation. Also, it doesn't let me skip the animation either, if you're wondering. So one more time, we will be going second here in this match again. Going second, you get that extra card in hand, but you do have to worry about your opponent disrupting your play. But if your opponent doesn't have a way to disrupt their play, and you get that extra card in hand going second, it is really nice. But then again, winning first before your opponent gets a chance to even play the game is really cool too. So I mean, cool for you playing it, not cool for your opponent who doesn't get the chance to play the game and all. But this opponent does get the chance to play the game and summon his boss monster. I guess you can call it a boss monster. It has a cool summon animation at least. That was a pretty cool summon animation, but it's not going to matter here because we're going to go ahead and open up with our spellbook combo right away, giving us the immediate +1. Search for knowledge. Knowledge off the Magician of Prophecy is a plus. Get the draws. Cup of Ace. If this connects, we are in a phenomenal position to win this one. We don't connect with it though, so gonna have to struggle a little bit here. Hopefully we win the second one. In the Devoid gets us to it, and if we win this, we're in a great spot. We do win it, so we're in a great spot. In the Devoid, get us more Dark World cards. Dark World dealings can just ditch Snow. Snow can just search for Snow. Snow for Snow, if you need to, is just a phenomenal way to just proceed through. Usually in a Dark World deck, like, it's not a good idea. A lot of times you kind of feel like you're just cycling and not doing anything. But in this deck, that's exactly what we want to do. We just want to cycle through our whole deck and grab all of our Dark World cards. So, Dark World for Dark World, Dark World for Dark World. And if your opponent doesn't have any way to stop it, it's just game over for them, right? As long as you just draw everything in the right order, and we're drawing everything in the right order here. Gates of the Darkhold, discard, draw one, get the extra draw. All 5 pieces of Exodia, summon him one final time for this video, absolutely obliterate our opponents. Had a ton of fun with this deck, and again, I do plan on doing another Exodia deck list here in the next couple of months. I have another Exodia list that might even be more consistent than this one, that's a lot more budget friendly, that I plan on doing a video on. So if you guys like the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. Truly appreciate the support everyone has given me with everything, with all your comments and everything. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my content. So thank you guys so much. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day.